In this section, we will discuss viscous fan clutches. When we have introduced you to products in the previous sections, we discussed common causes of failure and then demonstrated how KitMasters solves these problems. Although viscous drive fan clutches do fail, the problem that we generally face doesn't come from a failure in the product. Instead, the problem lies in the inventory. There are thousands of different viscous fan clutches, meaning that a distributor would need to keep well over $200,000 in inventory to make sure that they have the fan clutch that their customer needs. Even then, there is still a huge number of viscous drives that have been rendered obsolete and have no replacement. So, how can a parts distributor stock viscous fan clutches successfully? Well, in our effort to find an industry solution, KitMasters looked at thousands of viscous fan clutches and discovered that you can simplify them into two primary components, the viscous drive head and the mounting bracket. Traditionally, the head and the bracket are assembled together at the factory, and there's no way to separate them. KitMasters considered, what if they were built separately and could be interchanged, producing a modular system? First, we studied the viscous drive heads. The difference between one viscous drive head and another are the engagement temperature, the viscosity of the fluid inside, and the amount of torque the fan clutch can produce, which dictates what size fan blade the fan clutch may be paired with. After reviewing all the viscous drive head part numbers, we learned that even though there are thousands of different viscous fan clutches, all the heads are all very similar. In fact, we were able to consolidate nearly all of the heads into only 7 different models. That means that 7 different heads can take the place of nearly all the medium and heavy-duty viscous fan clutch heads in the market. Next, we studied the brackets. Again, we found the extreme consolidation was possible. With the occasional use of spacers and adapters, and by creatively including multiple mounting holes in a single configuration, we were able to reduce the thousands of mounting brackets to just 51 brackets. Combine these 51 interchangeable brackets with the 7 different viscous drive heads and just a handful of adapters and/or spacers, and we are able to replace thousands of viscous fan clutches. We can even make replacements for many of the fan clutches that have been rendered obsolete. Now, a parts distributor can keep a small amount of inventory and have the ability to build thousands of different viscous clutches on demand. This is the basis of our Spectrum Modular Viscous Fan Drive system. Let's take a closer look at how it works. A customer calls a Spectrum distributor with a viscous fan clutch part number. That distributor can use the Spectrum Cross-Reference Guide or use the online cross-reference at kitmasters.com to determine exactly which Spectrum components are needed to build a replacement fan clutch. Then they simply pull those components from the Spectrum cart and assemble them together. Even the assembly process is simple. Just place the head into the supplied cradle on the Spectrum cart. This holds the nut on the back of the head in place. Then, thread the bracket into the head. Once it is hand tightened, use the supplied torque wrench to torque it to the designated torque specs found on the countertop of the Spectrum cart. Simple. Now, for many clutches, this will be all that is required, but for some clutches, you may need to add an adapter. There are 2 types of adapters: the pilot adapters, which simply press into the back of the mounting bracket, and the special adapters, which mount directly onto the head using the included hardware. Once assembled, the fan clutch is ready to go. KitMasters and Borg have formed a partnership to accomplish the Spectrum program. The viscous drive head is manufactured by Borg. KitMasters manufactures the brackets, spacers, adapters, and manages the system. Borg is the leading manufacturer of viscous drives, and it is likely that the original fan clutch is a Borg as well. Finding the appropriate replacement for a viscous fan clutch is easy when you have the original part number. But what if the customer can't find a part number for his current fan clutch? Never fear, we have a system for that too. There are several measurements that can be taken from the current fan clutch, which will help to determine an appropriate replacement. Once those measurements are gathered, you can go to kitmasters.com, click on Products, and then the drop-down menu, go to Identify Your Viscous. Once there, enter your measurements and you will be given the part number of the complete Spectrum fan clutch, along with the part numbers of the components required to build that clutch. A Spectrum distributor can now easily build the fan clutch, or the complete assembled fan clutch can be ordered from KitMasters.